Yeah, thank you, Steffen. Thank you for your presentation. But let's now go over to the AutoSAR workflow example. This is an example which shows how you can use classic AutoSAR artifacts. And it's important to enable a collaboration platform, because this was something which has been noticed a couple of times before, that AutoSAR does not really have examples and kind of implementations so that people can try out what AutoSAR really can do. So let's see what this workflow example is about. First of all, I would like to talk about the motivation. So why are we doing it a bit more in detail? And you might have heard about it because it was formerly called Plugfest. I also will explain why it was called Plugfest and why it is now renamed to Workflow Example. But let's go ahead step by step. So AutoSAR is committed enhancing user experience. Yeah, so that's what I already mentioned. We want to provide practical examples, not just specification. We want to ease the entry into the work of AutoSAR and show typical applications. But unfortunately, AutoSAR is just specifying artifacts for exchange. So yes, we also have specifications for stack implementations, but we are not providing implementation itself. So we cannot do what open source projects are usually doing. We can just provide these exchange artifacts. So let's see how it looks like in the following slides. And the idea is that you can take your existing tooling and process these artifacts. Yeah. For the classic platform, we have the situation that the tooling already exists, and that's the reason why we are just providing these artifacts and not just providing any further implementations. And yeah, your task could be to verify these artifacts, to try it out, to see if it's processable with your tooling, and if you can finally generate hex code out of it. And that's exactly the reason why we call it Plugfest, because the basic idea is to use the different tool chains of our partners, generate the respective hex code, and then try out to plug in different parts of the system, plug them together, and see that it's working. And the challenge here is that we are creating examples which are processable by as many partners as possible. And I also will now explain a bit why this is so important and how we are tackling this approach. Yeah? So therefore, we introduced an iterative process because we want to create something like a reference artifact. So you might know that if you ever have integrated AutoSAR systems in practice, that AutoSAR leaves a little bit of space or options to implement things. And this has advantages, but it also has the disadvantage that some artifacts are leading into different solutions and different implementations, and that things are not fitting 100% together. And that's exactly the reason why we try to find out a common subset of AutoSAR configurations of an AutoSAR system extract, which can be used by most of the AutoSAR partners. So that's the challenge. And we already have a solution for it, as already said. Yeah, so we are creating a system description. We are creating subsystems out of it for the respective system extracts. We will test them with different tool chains. We are doing reviews and feeding them back into the system description so that in the end, we have a system description which is processable. Yeah? So we are removing the problematic parts step by step, running through this process. And there already is a first solution. You can find it on our web page on the Classic platform. But now let's have a quick look how it looks like and how this first iteration and what it is about, and yeah, how you can make use out of it. So the very basic setup, and you can see it's a very simple one. We just have two test boards which are connected by a CAN bus. And on the left-hand side, you can see a kind of wheel speed detector. And on the right side, we have a speed evaluation, a vehicle speed evaluation, and two LEDs indicating if there is an error, if the speed is between 0 and 200 kilometers per hour or even above. So with that setup, we also have a system description, and each subsystem, of course, will get, or we will generate a system extract out of this description. And in the next step in your tool chain, you can also generate the ECU extracts out of it. And by doing this process, we are, as you have seen before, this iterative process, we will finally end up with reviewed and tested system extracts, which are kind of the standard or a kind of a reference, which is neutral with respect to the tool chains of our partners. So how does it now look like? So we have on the left-hand side, the wheel speed detection, as you can see here, the resistor setup, a virtual driver. Then we have the speed sensor driver. We have the speed calculation. So here we are calculating out of the wheel speed the vehicle speed. And then we have, again, the actuator driver and a virtual actuator, which is finally showing or switching the lamps, the LEDs. And out of that system description, we are generating these two system extracts. So the left side has the wheel speed sensor and the virtual driver, and the right side is the second system extract, which has the speed calculation, the actuator, virtual driver. So from a tooling perspective, it looks like that. So you will import these two extracts, or one of them, into your tooling. You will import it. You should not get any errors. You can generate the ECU extract, which is the flattened structure of the system extract, and then you start the configuration of your manual work, and hopefully your log file does not contain any errors. Okay, so how will we proceed? And this is my message for today. We now have the first iteration. We have the first system extracts created. They are processable and hopefully accepted by the partners. And the next step, of course, could be something more complex. So we have, so to say, a proof of concept that the process itself works. And in a second step, we want to make it a bit more challenging. That means, for example, we could say, okay, let's extend the communication to the CAN, or maybe just extend the number of participants in the bus, or it's also possible to connect this system, which is based on classic ECUs, also to an adaptive ECUs. That are some ideas. Of course, it's just a proposal. My question to you now is, if you would like to join such an activity, then of course we can discuss those kind of setups together, come to a conclusion, and work on something which is also in your interest. And that would be my request to you. If you would like to join and found such a working group, then please write me an email, and yeah, let's start such an activity and bring it to life and make AUTOSAR more attractive with such a use case. So thank you very much for your attention. And now I would like to hand over to Thomas Rüping. Thank you.